Let's create this snowman and this snowy environment. Film, blank, name it, and create. You will start by creating a new level. Select Basic, then Create. The reason I wanted you to create this new level is simply because this basic template contains everything we need to start creating the environment, and it's pretty well organized. You should start by saving this level by doing Ctrl+S on your keyboard. Then choose a name for the level. Go to the Bridge tab and search for Arctic. You should see the collection Arctic Ice and Snow. Click on that. We get quite an incredible selection of snow and ice assets in here. Now you need to find a snow texture that could fit perfectly on a snowman. This one doesn't look like a snowman ball at all. Oh, look at that. So many snow textures. I'll pick this one, but you're free to choose any you want. Now you download a bunch of 3D ice and snow assets from here. We will use those to create the environment very soon. Don't download them all, there's too much in the whole collection. But we certainly need a good amount. Okay, that's enough. Anyway, you could go back and download more later if you want. Now you just export everything you just downloaded so we can use them in the scene. We won't need that player start object since we're creating an environment. Just delete it. Okay, ready to start creating an environment? You don't need that ground. I'm going to show you how to create a better one. See this thing that says selection mode? You can change which mode you are in just by clicking on it. Select landscape. We're going to create a ground, so this giant green grid is basically where the ground will appear. There's a few settings here, but we don't need any of that for this project. Just hit create. We got some sort of giant brush here. When you click, it kind of makes mountains. And we will use that to create the base of our environments. And remember, you can do Ctrl+Z to undo the last action. You can change the tool strength here. Higher number, taller mountains faster. This is the brush size. Guess what? It represents the brush size. So play around with that. Change the tool strength and brush size as much as you want, and start creating a ground with some small mountains. I need to think about what the composition will look like. I want a snowman in the middle, close to the camera. Gotta consider that. Okay, let's go back to selection mode. If you see this red error message there, it's quite annoying. A quick way to get rid of it is simply to hit play, then escape to go back to edit mode. Go back to bridge and find a snow texture for the ground, if needed. This one will do. Click on the ground just to make sure it's selected. If you scroll down a little, you'll see this, landscape material. This is where we apply a material to the ground. Find the snow and click on it. And boom, we got a snow ground. Hold Ctrl and L on your keyboard, and then move your cursor around to change the sun position. I want to change my landscape a little, so I'll go back to the landscape mode. I want to make the closer mountain a little lower. That's why I'm selecting the erase tool. Whoa, way too strong. Remember, you can always change the tool strength. Okay, looks good. Back to selection mode. The lighting is not perfect, but we'll get a chance to change it later. I'm adding a sphere right now, so I know where the snowman will be. I'm putting the camera speed lower to have more control, and turning off snapping to place the sphere exactly where I want. In the material section, you can change the material. Find the snow material you downloaded for this. Now click on the ground to select it. I want to show you something. Scroll down a little to find the material, then double-click on it. Check the tiling case and you'll access this. Tiling is how much the texture repeats itself. Try some values and see what it does. Once you find something you like, click on this Save button. Since you already applied the material to the ground, when you change it, it's instantly applying to the ground. Now look there, the texture is repeating itself way too much. That's where you might want to change the tiling. But that's okay for this shot because I will add the 3D assets I downloaded in front of it. So we won't see that it repeat at all. Control plus space to open the content drawer and then open the Megascans folder to access the 3D assets we downloaded from Bridge. In the Surfaces folder, that's where you can find the material you downloaded. But what we need is what's in the 3D assets folder. Every 3D assets we downloaded are here in their folder. So open a folder and drag the 3D model in the scene. Personally, I like to start by adding every models I have in the scene. That's what I got. I believe that's enough to complete the environment I want. Okay, you ready? You can start by adding a camera. You go cinematic, then scene a camera actor. Now, if you go to perspective, you can select the camera as your point of view. Now we're kind of in the camera. Go where you want the camera to be placed. You don't just have the camera view, you are the camera. When you leave the camera view, it will stay exactly where you put it. Just gotta find the perfect spot. I'll show you in a second how to leave the camera. But first, go to perspective and select cinematic viewport. It automatically ejected you from the camera, but we're not done yet. So go back to perspective and go in the camera view again. The reason we went to cinematic viewport is just to get this option right there. See, you got a small selection of grids that apply in the camera view. Using those can help you choose a better camera placement. Make sure the camera is selected in the outliner and scroll down a little. Try to change the value of focal length and see what it does. From there, you could do an ultra-wide angle. Or a big zoom, but I'll keep it at 35. Now maybe you want to get out of the camera. Just click on this. Now we still see the camera view, and that's because the camera is selected. You can just click on any other object or press escape to unselect everything. It's quite hard to see, but there's a pin icon right there. If you click on it, it locks the camera view right there. Keep in mind an idea of what you want the result to be. All we need to do to reach that is to place the 3D assets, change the lighting a little, and add fog. Follow along, you got this. This one would look great as a far big mountain, so I'll just scale it. And remember, you can always use Q, W, E, and R to change tool. Scale is R. Meh, I don't have enough control, so I'll just turn off snapping for rotation and scaling. Way better! I can now rotate it exactly as I want. I will scale this one too. Remember, you can change the camera speed. Very useful for this bigger environment. In future tutorials on this channel, we will create way bigger environments. I can't wait to show you what we'll create together. Now might be a great time to subscribe. I'm scaling some of the 3D assets and putting it far away from the camera to make the environment look big. Soon we'll add fog, which will help a lot with depth. To select multiple objects at the same time, just hold the Shift key on your keyboard. For the next minute or so, I'll just do about the same thing for all assets here. Scale them if I want to, and choose where to place them. I would suggest you put some assets close to the camera to create a great sense of depth. Time to add some fog. Find exponential height fog in the outliner and click on it. Here, you can change the fog intensity. Bigger number, more fog. You can manually type the number you want. See, that's clearly way too much. Experiment with different numbers and see what happens. Scroll down and here you can change the fog color. I'll put it in the yellow so the fog appears less blue. That made the scene look very dark. I want it to be a sunny day. Let's fix that. Select the directional light, which is in some way the sun, and put the intensity up. Look at the side of this snow wall, it's so dark. Skylight is pretty much here for that. If you put the intensity scale up, well, not that much, but you see the point? It makes the whole scene better lighted. Yeah, I think 3 is good for this shot. Let's change the fog. I don't like it anymore. Do whatever you want with it, but I'm putting it to 1.5. And forget the yellow color. After reconsideration, keeping it blue is better. I'm still very unsatisfied with how the lighting looks. Let me play around with that and find something I like more. It seems making the sun face the camera looks the best for this shot. I think I'll make the fog a little stronger. 1.8 looks good to me. I was not done placing all the ice and snow assets, so let's finish with that. There are assets far from the camera and some closer. The one that I'm currently moving will go somewhere in the middle. Have fun, this is where you can get really creative. Go back to the camera view. How about we finally start creating that snowman? Leave the camera. And turn off the grid. We don't need it for now. To duplicate that, just hold the Alt key on your keyboard and drag the snowball up. Remember to use Q, W, E, and R to quickly change tool. I'll go back to the camera view just to make sure the snowman is in the middle and looking good in the composition. Let's do something fun with the camera, changing the aperture. If I put it very low, you can see the snowman gets blurry. If I put it very high, nothing will be blurry. What I want is for the snowman to be super clear and the background just a little blurry. So open the focus setting and click on this thing. You'll have a picker in your hand and be able to click on any object you want to select. As I said a second ago, I want the snowman to be the focus. You can see the whole background got some blur. This is known as depth of field. I highly recommend you do some research about this. I just selected a far asset as the point of focus, and now the background is clear and the snowman blurry. I'll select the snowman again because that's what I want. You can close the focus settings and find again aperture. I think 2.8 is better for this shot. I don't want the background to be too blurry. I'm adding a grid again to change the camera position a little. Okay, let's finish that snowman. Go to Bridge and find a carrot. This one will do. Now some branches for the arms. Dead tree branch, exactly what I need. As always, don't forget to export it to your project by clicking on the blue export button. Back to the scene, get out of the camera. Click on the snowman, then press F on your keyboard to instantly get close to it. Control plus spacebar to open the content drawer and find the carrot. Sometimes I go back in the camera view to make sure the carrot is put at a place that looks good. I have a branch already, but should not use the same one for both arms. So I found a second branch for the other arm. I found some branches that could work well for the eyes, plus a plank that will be used as a tie. Just one last step, and this project will be finished. We are going to make a super simple hat for the snowman. Start by adding a cylinder. Browse in Bridge and find a texture that could work well for the hat. Apply the material you just downloaded. Hold Alt on your keyboard and drag the cylinder to duplicate it. And we're finally done with this environment! I'm proud of you for completing this tutorial. See you in the next one.